Hello, hello. Welcome to the Celsius News, the Celsius Project News, news at 4:30 New Zealand Standard Time. So we've actually got something crazy going on here. Let me just plainly pull up stuff. What article can I rip? I can of this article. Give me a second while I change the text. Okay, well, you're gonna have to deal with that. There's a yeah. There we go. Alright. What the heck just happened? An hour long tangential chat that meandered through the serious, silly, and scandalous. No one was safe from the attack. Mayors, engineers, transport planners, politicians, bureaucrats, council-controlled organizations, former ministers, authors, Wellingtonians, and girl architects. Not even Robbie Williams escaped. Not even Robbie Williams escaped unscathed. If you're easily offended, this probably isn't the interview for you. But if you have a glimpse in the inside of the fascinating mind of the mayor of New Zealand's biggest city, keep reading or watching. I put a road cone outside Soft's makeshift pub for two reasons. Firstly, to warn the office that Wayne Brown was there. Secondly, as a jibe at the famously cone-hating Auckland's mayor. He told me to sit on it. I should have expected anything less. Interviewing Wayne Brown was a bizarre experience. I had a constant and underlying nervous energy because of his unpredictability. Some might call it refreshing honesty or saying how it is, while others might call it a ravings of a madman. Whatever your thoughts on Brown, there's no doubt he's a fascinating person, unflinching in his opinions, notorious for speaking before thinking, and yet strangely lovable in a grumpy uncle kind of way. Why'd I invite him for a chat? Why'd I invite him for a chat? To check on his progress of fixed-up job of Auckland, to see whether he's concerned about Christchurch outshining his city, or why he's so vehemently opposed to tunnels as the new harbour crossing. While we did traverse all these topics eventually, there were others that came up too, some of them out of nowhere, his nervous chip eating, a new glasses his wife chose, and revelations he owns at least one supermarket. Here's a glimpse into the mind of Wayne Brown. Is Christchurch now better than Auckland's? The Golden City's new stadium is hosting its first ever event this weekend. It comes after a successful super show a fortnight ago, which saw tens of thousands of people flood the city and spend up large. Christchurch's population is booming. Its unemployment rate is lower than the rest of the country. Its economy is in good shape, and now it's an awesome, modern, and vibrant city. It's had a huge injection on taxpayer funds over the last few years, so it's not surprising that it's in good condition. It's an odd country. You can have a disaster and end up better off than you had if you hadn't had one. They spent $688 million, $683 million, to build a stadium that hosts the same as Mount Smart. The cost almost nothing in comparison, and Mount Smart fills up every week, he adds gleefully. After pointing out that it had been built to be quake-proof, he gave a little bit of, I don't know that word, of engineer speak about excessive seismic standards and why the February 22nd earthquake death toll would have been higher than it happened that night because of chimneys falling on beds. As for the stadium's roof, he's not a big fan because footy without rain is not footy. Has he fixed Auckland yet? The self-described Mr. Fix-It has made a promise to fix Auckland when he was elected in 2022 and again last year. How far through the fix-up job is he? About halfway, he says. My first policy was taking control of the CCOs, and it's taken me until last week where finally the government approved laws to give me control of Auckland transport, and that only happens in another 6 months. Everything has to be paid for. I'm an engineer and a developer. I've built a lot of things. My mistakes have cost me money. So I didn't make them twice. Projects don't go wrong. They start wrong. His popularity... This article is so long. His popularity and why his lefties love him. A few weeks ago on BYO, comedian Tim Batt revealed he had quite surprised how much he agreed on Wayne Brown's policies. Maybe that's why Brown won such a landslide last year. What does he put down it to? My dad said, always tell the truth. That way you can remember his said. So I just say the unvarnished truth, and sometimes it hurts for people. Some people are quite surprised to learn they're idiots. For a while, I had trouble with my media staff, and they were trying to protect me from being myself, he says, adding his bluntness and daring. People quite like it. I didn't do the job. I just do it because that's the right way to do it. He's just come from a meeting about massive cost overruns on the soon-to-be open city rail link, where officials had studied doing an overview. Don't get Brown started on the reviews or the PPPs. It looks like a whitewash to me, and... This is so good. Can I see, like... Wait, should I... Sorry, I'm opening this to see... if there's any... I'll open up the chat, just in case if anyone messages me while I'm speaking. It looks like a whitewash to me, and I said, no, because you're not learning and you haven't learned from anything. You got transmission gully completely wrong and you went and repeated it from the road for Puhoi to Warkworth, which is a lovely route, but there was enough money to get it all the way to Whangarei. It was nearly 5 years ago that I campaigned to the mayor of Auckland, and I said, this is $2 billion over budget. This is ridiculous. It's out of respect. We don't need Bentley, we just needed a car. We've got railway set stations that look like cathedrals. The last bit, the cathedral, hold on. That last bit, the cathedral comparison, is what prompted him to divulge in this idea for what they could do to mark the opening of the CRL. I said, why do you get all the Moonies to have a big marriage in there? That'd be world famous, and they're gonna have multiple Moonies as characters. And the Cathedral of Auckland. That's it. I don't want to read this anymore. Sorry. Is there any good news? Oh! Live US military ones are on shipping. Fucking. What do you need to know? A ship anchored off the United Arab Emirates was. Wait, this is progressive. This is not an article, this is a timeline. This is evil. Is there anything about world news? Oh, China's Xi issues over Taiwan. Wait. Read this. China's Xi Jinping warned US President Donald Trump that the two countries could clash over Taiwan if the issue is not handled properly. An unusually harsh what the hell is that word? Admonition? Admonition. Unusually harsh admonition that stood in contrast to the American leader's praise for his counterpart. This exchange at the highly anticipated summit in Beijing underscored that how far apart Trump and Xi were still on thorny issues, including the war in Iran, trade disputes, and Washington's... Hold on, I forgot to change the title in the stream. Give me a second. which is, which is role, but China claims the part of its territory. It also suggested that Trump's 3-day visit to China is likely to be longer on, and again, another word that I've never heard of in my entire life.
Pageantry.
Pageantry. Likely to be longer on pageantry and symbolism than substantive political or economic breakthroughs. The pair met for about 2 hours behind closed doors at the Great Hall of the People after an elaborate welcome ceremony featuring booming cannons, a band playing the Star Spangled Banner, and China's national anthem, and hundreds of schoolchildren jumping and waving flowers and American and Chinese flags. According to a post on X by Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning, Xi told Trump that the Taiwan question is the most important issue in China-U.S. relations. Okay, kid. If it is handled properly, the bilateral relationship will enjoy overall stability. Otherwise, the two countries will have clashes and even conflicts, putting the entire relationship in great jeopardy. That comment followed by a brief exchange before the meeting began, which Trump trolled Xi. "You're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway, because it's true. It is an honor to be your friend," Trump said before promising that the U.S.-China relationship is going to be better than ever before. Trump later told Fox News' Sean Hannity in an interview that Xi said during Zhejiang that he would like to be of help in negotiating an end to the Iran war and reopening the Strait of Hormuz to oil shipments. Xi was far more stark in his opening public remarks, expressing hope that the U.S. and China could avoid conflict and asking whether the two countries can transcend the God knows what that is trap and forge a new model for relations between major powers. That's a term popular in foreign policy studies relating to the idea that when a rising power threatens to displace an established one, the result is often war. Xi has used this term for years, but using it as Trump offered optimism was noteworthy and foreshadowed his closed-door comment on Taiwan. Secretary of State Marco Rubio later said U.S. policy towards Taiwan was unchanged, but warning that it would be a terrible mistake for China to take Taiwan by force. They always said it, raise it on their side. We always make clear our position, and we move on to other topics, Rubio, who was traveling with the president, said in an interview with NBC News. After their meeting, Xi took Trump on a tour of the Temple of Heaven, then hosted a state banquet for them. The Chinese leader used this evening toast to note that he and Trump has kept U.S. relations generally stable in a turbulent world. Achieving the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and making America great again can go hand in hand, Xi said. Through Trump's political movement, we can help each other succeed and advance the well-being of the whole world. In this toast, Trump said that his visit has been a great honor, punctuated by a fantastic day. He said, all matters for the United States and China were discussed. Trump also said Xi would make a reciprocal visit to the White House on September 24th, a date not previously announced. The positive tone was reflected in the White House assessment of the earlier meetings, which said both leaders had touched on ways to influence economic cooperation, including expanding markets access for the American businesses in China and increasing Chinese investment into U.S. industries. The White House readout did not mention Taiwan directly, but in a post by Ron, said both sides had agreed that the strait must remain open. The strait's closure had stranded tankers and caused energy prices to spike, threatening global economic growth. The war is dominating Trump's domestic agenda and stoking fears about the prospect of a weakening U.S. economy in November's midterm elections when Republicans hope to maintain control of Congress. China is the largest producer of Iranian oil. Purchaser of Iranian oil. And Rubio said in an interview with Fox News that Trump would make the case for Beijing to exert its influence in Iran, noting that administration officials would underscore Battlefield Dream Islands. So that's it for my my. Sorry, I can't be bothered. That was it for the news today. That was every single news event that happened in the past 1 second. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you yesterday.